Hi everyone, Tammy here. Welcome to my channel. Today's video is another collaboration I'm doing. You can see everybody that is part of this collaboration listed below in the description box. I have a link to each of the videos related to this themed collaboration. The theme for this collaboration is Earth, and I am thinking of Earth as far as recycling, reusing, protecting the Earth, that in that sort of context. And I thought it would be fun to take some of my dolly sewing scraps here in the dolly sewing room. I have two things I kind of collect my scraps in. One is this basket. This tends to be the larger scraps, and then the smaller scraps, a lot of them are like strips like this, or like here's a bigger strip. Something about this size I throw in this little bag, and I have another bag full of about the smaller scraps. And my thoughts are to use some of these scraps today and make something for the Blythe dolls. In fact, these two gals, these are both Fakey dolls, and they hang out in my studio because they help me with sewing. They work as models for me. And I noticed today they're still both wearing these Jane Austen dresses I made. And I think I have some Jane Austen scraps in here. So I'm thinking of making something for each of them using these scraps. So hold on, I'm going to dig through some scraps here, iron them up, and then show you what I come up with in the scrap bin and tell you what I do next. Please hang out with me to the end of the video and we will make something together with these scraps for my Blythe dolls. Alright, I am back and I dug through these scraps and this is what I came up with. Here are the pieces I'm going to play around with. So you can see that this one, and this one, these all three are part of the Jane Austen collection. This is not, but I felt like it kind of worked with it. And this I just thought was cute. So what I'm going to do is, the idea came to me because, of course, these are all sort of rectangles. Earth Day, I thought, you know what? I should make them little tote bags that they could use for shopping. And then that way I am not only recycling my scraps, but the dollies have a shopping bag that they can reuse instead of using plastic when they go shopping. So yeah, so you can see like this is almost perfectly sized. I'm just going to trim it off here. Now these are 1/6 scale dolls, so this would also work well for a Barbie doll. And if you had smaller dolls, you could size it down. If you have bigger dolls, you could size it up. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut these into, what's the fact? I think that's a little bit big. Let me see. Let me hold her. That's a really big bag. I might make it a teensy. Of course, I'm going to lose. Now, I'm going to cut it, and then I'm going to fold it over and stitch that down, and then stitch that down. So I will lose some of the size. So I think I'm not going to do that. In fact, maybe I'll do this one first before I do the other ones. I'll cut it across here, measure it so I know what size it is. I'll do this one first and come back and show you before I do these other ones. And that way, if I want to alter the pattern a little bit, I can do that. See, this strip is a little bit narrower, but I think it would also work with, you know, make a little tote bag. See, that's almost perfect size, and it would even match your little dress. So yeah, let me do a sample one first, and then I'll come back and show you what I did and make another one and show you maybe a little bit more detailed how I did it. But Lilu is modeling prototype number 1 of the tote bag, and it's more narrow than I had anticipated. So, and of course, like a dingbat that I am, I forgot to measure this before I sewed it all together. Though I can just measure it and add the seam allowance, which was about 1/4 inch. And because it was so narrow, I thought this looks more like a purse than a shopping bag. So I made this long strap here and stitched it on the outside and put it on her like this. I think it looks pretty cute. But yeah, I'm going to measure this now and then create another one, but make it a little bit, I want it to be a little bit wider. So yeah, let's see what happens with that. Other scraps here that I think will work. I'm really trying to use up my scraps, so that's a little shy of 2.5. And this one's wider. This one is, yeah, by the time this will be cut, I'm going to go ahead and try this one. So this is how I'm doing it. I'm zigzagging around the outside. Then I fold over the top just a teensy bit and do a straight stitch here. And then fold it over here and do a straight stitch here. And I'll be right back to show you what to do next. I went ahead and decided to do 3 since I have these 3 scraps. And I did a zigzag stitch all the way around. And then I folded over the top part about 1/4 of an inch and did a straight stitch. The next step I'm going to do is fold them in half this way and stitch up the sides. All right, like I said, I put the right sides together, stitch the sides, and I'm going to turn it inside out. Well, I tell you, you could definitely do these by hand. It would not be that difficult to just stitch these up by hand, and my sewing machine just kept trying to eat these. And I know I could buy a straight plate that I could, you know, change out the plate, but I don't want to do that. I want to just keep sewing. I don't want to have to change out my plate constantly, but I don't know. So yeah, this looks pretty cute. We have to trim that off a little bit there. I think this one is going to be more square versus more rectangular, which is kind of the look I was going for. I'm using this little gizmo. I got this off Amazon. You can, it helps, you know, guide your fabric into the machine a little bit sometimes, and you can kind of poke corners and stuff like that. Yeah, so this is really sort of the size I was thinking of, and maybe it's so I could make a shorter strap here. And in fact, so this one, just by the way, so this strap is made using Chinese knotting cord. It's what is this, 0.5 millimeters. So yeah, this is pretty short. I don't know if this is even going to work at all. Let me see here. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that would work. All right, so I don't know if I'm going to use this knotting cord. I'm going to look to see if I have some ribbon. I think ribbon would look cute too. All right, so I will be back to show you the straps that I figure out to put on these. This one I did knots on the end, and then I hand stitched the straps to the side. I might do that again, but I'm going to look around in my bin of leftover ribbon. That is something else that I kind of hoard, or just scraps of ribbon, and I'm going to see if I can find any that might work for straps for these, and I'll be right back. All right, I'm finishing these up. So here's the prototype that I did. Here are the other 3. This one, when I started looking at it, like, it's kind of beat up looking, so I have to see. I'm going to set that aside. Just the quality, the workmanship on this is not good. So my quality control person inside me says reject this one. So moving on to the other 2 that turned out pretty cute. This is more like what I was thinking about. Like I said, this is a little bit too long for me and not wide enough. But what I did here is I took some ribbon out of my ribbon scraps, just tied a couple of knots and stitched it by hand on the outside to make this one. And this one I did something different. I thought I'd go ahead and show you. I stitched it on the inside, and then you just have to flip it out again. And you have another tote bag, but then the handle's on the inside. So yeah, I'll be right back, and I'm going to put these on a few dollies, and we will see what they look like on the dolls. Okay, I have 3 dolls with 3 tote bags. I thought I'd go ahead and put a Barbie in here so you could get an idea of the scale as far as the bag and the doll. And like I said, I would recommend, if you have a scrap anywhere from, say, 2 to 4 inches, you can use that to make one of these. Obviously, you know, you can make them smaller, narrower, wider, you know, but this is a fun little project. I could definitely see making more of these to go with some of the doll dresses I like to make. So here we have Lilu. She is a fakie, but she's on a traditional Takara style body. This is Malibu, as you all know her. She is on an A-zone movable jointed body, sometimes called a Fortune Day body. And this is, I believe, one of the fashionista Barbie dolls that I just got at a thrift store a while back. And yeah, they're all modeling their little tote bags made with scraps, and now they can go shopping and use these reusable bags and help save the earth. Please make sure you check out all the other members of this collaboration down below. In my description box, I have links directly to their YouTube channels, and everybody's doing something different. The theme was Earth, but I know this is going to be something really interesting. I'm very curious to see what everybody else does with this theme. And yeah, have a wonderful Dolly Day. As usual, I always appreciate a thumbs up and a subscription. Hit the bell icon so you get notifications, and have a wonderful Dolly Day. Bye-bye.